Where does wealth come from? Decoding Adam Smith's The Wealth of Nations. What is wealth? Is it glittering coins, mountains of goods, or the invisible force driving society forward? Whether you're a street vendor or a strategic entrepreneur, the creation and distribution of wealth is a topic humanity can't escape. In 1776, a Scottish scholar named Adam Smith published an inquiry into the nature and causes of the wealth of nations, or simply the wealth of nations, offering a rational new answer to this age-old question. He not only uncovered the sources of wealth but also laid the foundation for modern economics. Today, as we navigate globalization, technological leaps, and policy debates, Smith's insights still shine like a beacon. What exactly does this book say? How did it change the world? And what inspiration can it offer us today? Let's step into Smith's world and find out. Part 1. Adam Smith, the man from moral philosophy to economic insight. To understand the wealth of nations, we must first understand Adam Smith himself. He wasn't born an economist but a moral philosopher, seeking to unravel the deeper motives behind human behavior. Born in 1723 in the small Scottish town of Kirkcaldy, Smith lost his father early and was raised by a devoted mother, shaping his introspective and focused character. At 14, he entered the University of Glasgow, where he was captivated by his mentor Francis Hutcheson's theory of moral sentiments, prompting him to ponder, why are humans both selfish and cooperative? This question would define his academic journey. In 1751, at 28, Smith became a professor of moral philosophy at Glasgow, teaching ethics, law, and political economy. His lectures, witty and engaging, drew countless students, including future politicians and thinkers. In 1759, he published The Theory of Moral Sentiments, arguing that sympathy is the cornerstone of human cooperation. This book brought him fame and set the stage for The Wealth of Nations. To Smith, morality and economics were not at odds but complementary. A turning point came in 1764. He was invited to tutor the young Duke of Buccleuch, embarking on a 3-year tour of France. There, he met the leaders of the Physiocrat school, François Quesnay and Anne Robert Hawk Turgot. The Physiocrats believed agriculture was the source of wealth, with land as the economy's lifeblood. Though Smith didn't fully agree, their ideas sparked his curiosity. If not land, what is the true source of wealth? Meanwhile, his friend David Hume exchanged letters with him, debating free trade and market mechanisms. These intellectual sparks ignited Smith's inspiration. Back in Scotland, Smith retreated into a decade of seclusion to write The Wealth of Nations. He often worked late into the night, his mother bringing him tea to sustain him through countless solitary hours. In 1776, his masterpiece was published, using clear logic and vivid examples to answer the era's burning question: how is wealth created? His answers shook 18th-century Europe and provided intellectual fuel for the Industrial Revolution and the rise of capitalism. Smith's character blended scholarly rigor with a deep understanding of human nature. He wasn't an ivory tower dreamer but a thinker who distilled universal truths from observing markets, factories, and ports. His friend Hume once teased, Smith's love for markets is like a poet's ode to nature. This blend of passion and reason made The Wealth of Nations a timeless classic. Smith's path wasn't always smooth. Health issues forced him to pause his studies, and his bold ideas faced skepticism in academic circles. Yet he never complained, diving into his work with remarkable perseverance. His students recalled his lectures as spontaneous and wide-ranging, weaving together Greek philosophy and Scottish pastures with ease. This vast knowledge allowed him to fuse moral philosophy with the emerging field of economics. During his time in France, Smith also met Voltaire, the Enlightenment giant whose influence deepened his commitment to individual liberty. Voltaire's liberal ideas reinforced Smith's belief in personal freedom. He once wrote in his diary, "Only a free society can nurture true prosperity." This conviction runs through every page of The Wealth of Nations and fueled his battle against mercantilist doctrines. Part 2. Core Principles: Division of Labor, Free Markets, and the Invisible Hand. The wealth of nations rests on three key ideas: division of labor, free markets, and the invisible hand. These concepts form the pillars of Smith's economic thought and continue to shape how modern societies function. Let's break them down, weaving in historical and contemporary examples to uncover their essence. The division of labor, the engine of wealth. Smith opens with a revolutionary claim: wealth grows from rising labor productivity, and the key to productivity is the division of labor. He illustrates with a simple example: a lone pin maker might craft a few pins a day, but if the process is split into steps, drawing wires, cutting, sharpening, collaboration can yield thousands of pins daily. The division of labor sparks efficiency, and wealth follows. This principle came to life in 18th century Britain. After James Watt improved the steam engine, textile factories sprang up across the land. In a Manchester cotton mill, workers specialized. Some carded cotton, others operated spinning machines, and others packed the finished goods. This division boosted production speed tenfold, making British cotton a global powerhouse and a vanguard of the Industrial Revolution. Smith keenly noted this trend, writing, "The extent of division depends on the size of the market." In other words, larger markets enable finer specialization, unlocking greater wealth. Today's world takes this to new heights. Take Apple. An iPhone's creation spans dozens of countries. Japan supplies screens, South Korea builds chips, the US handles design, and China assembles it all. Each step is perfected by specialized teams, creating a product that dominates markets. Smith would marvel at this global division of labor. Yet he also cautioned that repetitive tasks could dull workers' creativity. This rings true for modern assembly line workers, raising questions about balancing efficiency with human fulfillment. The magic of division extends beyond manufacturing to services. In 18th century London, coffee houses became hubs for deal-making, where merchants, scholars, and shipping captains traded ideas, birthing industries like insurance and shipping. Smith observed that these sectors thrived on division. Some gathered data, others assessed risks, and others provided capital. This invisible collaboration made London the world's financial hub. A modern example is China's courier industry. Companies like SF Express optimize logistics through divisions. Sorters, drivers, and algorithm engineers work in sync with drones and automated warehouses, delivering packages nationwide in 24 hours. Smith's principle of division thrives in the digital age. But he warned that excessive specialization could narrow workers' skills, a concern echoed in today's gig economy, where platform workers often lack long-term security. Free markets, the stage for spontaneous ordering. Smith argued that wealth creation requires not just division but free markets. He opposed mercantilist trade barriers and government meddling, advocating for markets where individuals pursue their own interests, naturally forming order. Each person chasing their own gain unintentionally boosts society's well-being. He wrote, "It's not from the benevolence of the butcher, brewer, or baker that we get our dinner, but from their regard for their own interests." The 18th century East India Company illustrates this. Through free trade, it brought Indian spices, tea, and Chinese silk to Europe, reaping huge profits. Though Smith later criticized its monopolistic turn, its early market-driven resource integration fueled global trade. Smith believed free markets act like an invisible hand, guiding resources to where they're needed most. Amazon today proves his point. Its algorithms streamline supply chains, delivering goods at minimal cost and maximum speed. Its Prime membership, while convenient for customers, uses data to match supply and demand with stunning efficiency. Smith's marketing vision lives on in the digital era. Yet he warned that markets aren't flawless monopolies and speculation can distort resources, as seen in the 2008 financial crisis. Free markets also foster innovation. In 18th century Glasgow, inventors and entrepreneurs thrived, including Smith's students who improved steam engines. Free markets gave them room to experiment, letting geniuses like Watts shine. Smith wrote, "Freedom is the fountain of creation." His insight remains the bedrock of Silicon Valley's innovation culture. Look at Tesla today. Elon Musk's global factories and supplier networks, spanning dozens of countries, use market mechanisms to streamline resources, slashing electric vehicle costs. Smith's free market ideas apply not just to 18th century textile mills but to 21st century tech giants. Still, Tesla's success comes with debates over labor rights and environmental costs, reminding us that markets need rules to function fairly. The invisible hand, bridging individuals and societies. The invisible hand is the wealth of nations' most famous concept, describing how individuals pursuing self-interest unintentionally advance the public good. Smith wrote, "By pursuing his own interests, he frequently promotes that of society more effectually than when he intends to promote it." This hand isn't mystical but a natural outcome of market dynamics. Benjamin Franklin's story brings this to life. In 18th century Philadelphia, Franklin built wealth through his printing press but went further, funding libraries, fire brigades, and universities. His actions, driven by self-interest, perhaps fame or business opportunities, made Philadelphia a cultural hub. Franklin embodies the invisible hand bridging personal and societal gains. Today, consider Lynn Ruoxi, a Shenzhen entrepreneur. Starting with a small electronics factory, she optimized processes to survive, eventually leading her industry and sparking jobs and innovation across hundreds of firms. Lynn may not have aimed to benefit society, but the market made her a regional economic force. Smith's insight: fair rules let individuals striving fuel collective progress. Yet Smith didn't worship markets blindly. He acknowledged the invisible hand needs government to enforce laws, ensure fairness, and provide public services. Without these, markets can become playgrounds for the powerful. This was clear in the 19th century industrial boom, when child labor and pollution spurred government action. Smith's balanced view still resonates. The invisible hand also shines in philanthropy. In the 19th century, Andrew Carnegie, a steel tycoon, donated 90% of his fortune to build libraries and universities. His motives, perhaps fame or morality, benefited millions. Smith would likely nod approvingly: markets can create and spread prosperity. Today's philanthropist Bill Gates follows suit. His Microsoft wealth funds the Gates Foundation, tackling global health and education. Its vaccine programs have saved millions, showing how the invisible hand turns personal ambition into societal good. Smith's theory urges us to pursue self-interest while leaving a positive mark on society. Part 3. Societal impact from Industrial Revolution to Capitalist Surge. When the wealth of nations appeared, it unleashed an intellectual storm. It not only fueled the Industrial Revolution but shaped early capitalism. Let's explore its impact across 4 dimensions. Catalyst for the Industrial Revolution. By the late 18th century, Britain entered the Industrial Revolution's golden age. Smith's ideas provided the intellectual spark. His division of labor inspired the factory system. In Birmingham, manufacturer Alan Brand applied Smith's pin-making example to firearms, breaking production into dozens of specialized tasks. This slashed costs and boosted output, strengthening Britain's military might. Smith's insight made efficiency the era's watchword. His free market ideas also dismantled trade barriers. In the 1780s, Britain began scrapping mercantilist policies, cutting tariffs and expanding trade with Europe and its colonies. This fueled the flow of raw materials and goods, cementing Britain as the global economic hub. Smith's book became a must-read for factory owners and policymakers. The revolution also saw technological leaps. Smith's division of labor extended to inventors' collaborations. In Glasgow, James Watts partnered with entrepreneur Matthew Boulton to turn the steam engine into reality. Boulton provided capital and market savvy, Watts focused on engineering. Their teamwork reflected Smith's idea that larger markets deepen specialization. Smith's theories seamlessly link technology and capital in the marketplace. The intellectual foundation of capitalism. The wealth of nations gave capitalism its theoretical blueprint. In the 19th century, John D. Rockefeller embodied Smith's free market vision. By consolidating the oil industry, his Standard Oil Company achieved economies of scale. His success mirrored Smith's idea that markets expand specialization. Rockefeller's refineries lowered oil prices and fueled America's industrial boom. But Smith's ideas stirred debate. Capitalism's growth brought immense wealth but also inequality and labor exploitation. In 19th century London, factory workers toiled 14 hours a day for barely enough to survive. The invisible hand seemed to falter. This spurred critics like Karl Marx to advocate collective intervention to fix market failures. Smith never denied government's role, and his balanced perspective inspired later mixed economies. Capitalism also birthed a new entrepreneurial class. In 19th century Britain, Josiah Wedgwood applied Smith's principles to ceramics. By specializing in production and standardizing designs, he made pottery affordable for the middle class. Wedgwood's success created wealth and reshaped consumer culture. Smith's ideas guided these trailblazers. The dawn of globalization. The wealth of nations foreshadowed globalization. Smith argued nations should trade based on comparative advantage, focusing on their strengths. A student recalled him saying, "Scotland's wool is fine, but Portugal's wine is better. Trade benefits both." This idea shaped 19th century free trade deals, like the Anglo-French Cobden Chevalier Treaty. Globalization thrives today. Since China's reforms, it's become the world's factory with its labor advantages, while the US leads in tech innovation. Their complementary trade has created vast wealth. Smith's comparative advantage remains key to understanding global supply chains. But he warned that trade must be fair to avoid dependency or conflict. The 19th century opium trade shows globalization's dark side. Britain's East India Company exported opium to China for tea and silver, causing social devastation. Smith would likely condemn this unequal trade as a betrayal of his free market ideals. His ideas urge us to seek mutual gain, not exploitation, in global trade. Ripples of thought, from policy to culture. The wealth of nations reshaped policy and culture. In the 19th century, British Prime Minister William Pitt, inspired by Smith, pushed free trade policies, abolishing protective tariffs. These reforms energized Britain's economy and paved the way for the Victorian era's prosperity. Smith's ideas became a beacon for policymakers. Culturally, Smith's theories sparked a wave of individualism. His invisible hand convinced people that personal striving could transform their lives and society. This belief fueled America's 19th century gold rush. In California, thousands chased riches, creating personal wealth and developing the West. Smith's ideas underpinned the American dream. But his individualism drew criticism. Romantic poets like William Blake decried industrialization's toll on the human spirit. They argued Smith's rational economics ignored emotion and creativity. This debate persists, reminding us to balance wealth with humanity. Part 4. Modern Lessons: Smith's Wisdom for Our Choices. Nearly 250 years after its publication, The Wealth of Nations remains vibrant. In today's world of globalization, AI revolutions, and policy battles, what lessons does Smith offer? Let's explore for perspectives. Balancing globalization and fairness. Smith's free market vision shines in globalization but has limits. The 2008 financial crisis showed that unchecked markets can breed systemic risks. Smith stressed government's role in ensuring fairness and curbing monopolies. Today, we must balance globalization with equity. The EU's antitrust laws, reigning in tech giants, echo Smith's principles. For individuals, globalization offers opportunities and challenges. Ru Oxy's story shows small businesses can thrive in global supply chains by honing expertise. Smith advises focusing on your comparative advantage skills, creativity, or resources. His ideas help us navigate globalization's landscape. Globalization also brings geopolitical tensions. Recent US-China trade disputes highlight free trade's fragility. Smith might urge dialogue over confrontation. His comparative advantage theory encourages cooperation to create shared wealth. AI economics and redefining division. AI is reshaping the division of labor. Smith's principle holds, but its form has evolved. Amazon's warehouses, where robots and humans collaborate, show finer specialization boosting efficiency. But AI risks eliminating low-skilled jobs. Smith might suggest government investment in education to shift workers to high-value roles. For individuals, AI demands constant learning. Smith's idea that market size drives specialization means digital markets offer endless niches. Whether you're a data analyst or content creator, finding your specialty channels Smith's wisdom. AI also raises data monopoly concerns. Tech giants' control over data creates new barriers. Smith's call for fair market rules is reflected in global data privacy laws. His insights guide us through the tech revolution. Rationality and the meaning of wealth. Smith's true legacy lies not just in economic theory but in his rational spirit. He questioned authority, seeking answers through observation and logic. In today's economic uncertainty, we need this mindset. For investing, entrepreneurship, or career choices, Smith advises grounding decisions in facts and long-term value, not short-term speculation. Our view of wealth matters too. Smith saw wealth as a means to meet human needs, not just money. Today's youth seek meaning over material gain. Smith's blend of rationality and morality urges us to stay true to our values while chasing wealth. China's new consumption trend, where Gen Z prioritizes experiences like travel or eco-friendly products, aligns with Smith's vision. His ideas encourage balancing material and spiritual pursuits, social responsibility and personal action. Smith's invisible hand links personal gain to societal good, but it requires conscious effort. Modern firms increasingly embrace social responsibility. IKEA's sustainable supply chains cut emissions while staying competitive, embodying Smith's idea that profits and societal goods could align. For individuals, Smith's theories inspire responsibility in daily choices. Supporting local shops or volunteering shapes markets. Smith saw that small actions drive grand change. China's dual carbon goals show this. Choosing electric vehicles or low-carbon products cuts personal emissions and boosts green industries. Smith's ideas call us to actively shape a better future through markets. Conclusion: the dynamic beauty of wealth. Adam Smith's The Wealth of Nations is a mirror reflecting wealth's creation, flow, and meaning. From the efficiency of division to the spontaneous order of markets and the magic of the invisible hand, Smith revealed the economy's rhythms. He wasn't a dreamer but a thinker who distilled timeless truths from 18th-century factories, ports, and markets. Today, we stand at a new crossroads. Globalization offers unprecedented opportunities but also inequality. AI reshapes labor while posing ethical dilemmas. Smith's wisdom reminds us, wealth creation isn't zero-sum but born of cooperation and innovation. With rationality and fairness, individual efforts can fuel collective progress. Wealth flows like a river ever moving. Smith left us not just an economic classic but a mindset for the future. Whether you're an entrepreneur, professional, or everyday consumer, The Wealth of Nations offers wisdom to find your path. Let's embrace Smith's spirit and seize the boundless possibilities of wealth and life.